Just a quick reminder, don't forget to check out my Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Link on screen and in the description below. What is going on, everybody? Project Rod here, and it is time for the start of the first stop of the Stadium Series for Season 2. Northern Nightmare and Alex Stevens 27 was your Season 1 winner and your World Finals 1 racing winner. And he is back and hopefully wanting to go back-to-back this season. We have some returning drivers as well as some new drivers, but this is your lineup for Season 2. Now let's go ahead and get started with the show with qualifying. First off is going to be Alien Invasion and Cecily 96, your Season 1 Arena Series winner. Absolutely demolished, I guess, or dominated. There you go. Absolutely dominated the Arena Series in Season 1. Made it to the World Finals, is your Skills Champion, and was the Event Champion as well in World Finals. So she dominated the Arena Series, dominated World Finals in terms of points, and came out with a championship in Skills. So, yeah, she's here to make a name for herself in the Stadium Series for Season 2, and here comes her first time here in Toronto, a 26.25 for Alien Invasion and Cecily 96 in her first go-around. Now we're going to go for the second attempt, same as last season. Now, back to her Skills Championship, or her Skills win in the World Finals. Although a controversial one, I still believe it was pretty well deserved. I mean, her move was pretty good, was pretty solid, or her attempt, but Max D had an amazing attempt. Monster Mutt Dalmatian had an amazing attempt. It was just the second attempt for both of those trucks I feel is what messed up the score for them. So that's why we have Alien Invasion as your winner, as she's flipping forward after her second attempt there, 26.95. Luckily on all fours after the fact, so sure, no damage to the truck as Monster Mutt comes out, and we have a new driver, a returning driver, but a new driver in the seat of Monster Mutt. Ryan Hayward was the driver behind the wheel last season, and he is now behind the wheel of Gas Monkey Garage in the Arena Series. But Blake Bell, who was the driver behind Mohawk Warrior in Season 1 for the Stadium Series, is now behind the wheel of Monster Mutt. So one of the changes for this season, he's getting a new truck, hopefully has a better outcome this time around. As he finishes his first attempt there, 25.50, so the fastest so far, and your fastest qualifier at the moment, as he goes for his second attempt. But Monster Mutt last season with Ryan Hayward behind the wheel was second to last. It was a battle to the very end between him and Whiplash and Morales TCS, who is now in the Arena Series. Whiplash was the one who got eliminated out of the Stadium Series and is now in the Arena Series. So she's down there doing her thing, absolutely killing it there, mind you, so far. Well, I believe she's in second place right now. I'd have to double check my numbers, but she's doing really well. So we'll see what happens as Monster Mutt's second time comes out at 26.60, slamming into that container there, but he's good to go. 26.60 for his second attempt, but that 25.50 is what has him on top right now as Zombie comes out and Flames plays a new driver for Season 2 on his rookie season in the Stadium Series. Last season, it was Eddie Garcia Jr. who was behind the wheel, but this time around we have Zombie in trouble early on as he hit the ramp at an awkward angle, sent him flying into that container there. He's going to get a DNF. They're going to go ahead and have a quick inspection on the truck, and as well as Flames plays, making sure everything's okay. Nobody's, out of commission, so to speak, or so to say. But no, it looks like everything's good to go. He's going to go for his second attempt, so he's not going to get a time for his first attempt, but he has one more shot at getting on the board. So luckily everything's okay, just some body damage, some cosmetic damage on the truck. But yes, Flames plays is in his rookie season here in the Stadium Series behind Zombie. Hopefully, hoping for a better outcome than Zombie did last year. Was, I believe, third to last. So what's that, 9th place, 10th place? 10th place, I believe. So hoping to turn things around as he's able to finish his first attempt and ends with a 26.65 as he has a nice wheelie after the fact. So not enough to be the top qualifier, but it's got something on the board. It's all that matters at this point. Mohawk Warrior now coming out. The driver behind the wheel of Mohawk Warrior this time around, as I mentioned last season, was Blake Bell, but this season is the Cameron 9785, who was in his rookie season as well. So a lot of new faces, a lot of new drivers this time around, and some trouble there. Oh, I thought he was going to clip that backflip jump, the backflip container. Luckily, he was able to steer out of the way in time, as he's going to come to the finish of his first attempt, as he was dangerously close to being outside of the lines, but he made it. Here comes his first time, a 26.45 for Mohawk Warrior in his first attempt. But as I mentioned last season, different driver last season, new driver this season, hoping for, again, being higher in the leaderboards, was 9th last season. So hopefully a better outcome. The elimination this season is completely different. The bottom 4 trucks are going to be completely eliminated. They won't even go to the Arena Series. They're just gone. And then the trucks in, I believe, 7th and 8th place will get moved down to the Arena Series. So completely different from last season. You're facing a complete elimination, so we'll see what happens. But a 26.34 for Mohawk Warrior. Nice bicycle there after his second attempt. So he is now on the board as Bakugan Dragonoid and Brian the Dog Webb making his debut as well here in the Steel Titans 2 Stadium Series. Last season, it was Lane Flores 2 who was behind the wheel of Bakugan. And this time around, he is out, and Brian the Dog Webb is in, making his return to the Monster Jam community after being on a bit of a hiatus, if you will. And he's coming up to the end of his first attempt here. Let's see what his time is going to be. And a 25.55, so just short of taking the lead away from Monster Mutt, but still a really good time. And he is currently your second fastest qualifier. He has one more attempt to go. But as I mentioned, Brian is returning from a brief hiatus from the Monster Jam community. If you are a longtime fan and have been with me from years ago, if you remember my Riggs or Rod sign-up series, that's when Brian the Dog Webb was more involved in the Monster Jam community, and I believe he may have slipped up a little bit there. That might be a disqualification for that second go-around. I believe he was outside of the lines. The officials are looking at it now, and he was. It's a disqualification for Bakugan. So unfortunate, but his first time was incredibly fast, incredibly well. So he is on the board for second fastest qualifier. As El Toro Loco comes out, Driftboy 912, previously known as Julian Peacock Jr., but returning again in the Crazy Bull, this time rocking that yellow paint scheme from World Finals 1. I know a lot of people were excited to see that. I know I was excited for it as well, to see a change in that, so I'm glad he kept it for this season. But again, same driver as last season, just different name this time around, as he finishes up his first attempt here. And a 25.79, good for third fastest. Let's see if he can get a faster time in his second attempt. But anyways, back to Brian the Dog Webb. Just really quick, don't want to take away from El Toro Loco, but he's making his comeback. So it's good to see you back, bud. It's been a while, and I'm glad to have you here. Now back to El Toro Loco and Driftboy 912. Absolutely killed it in skills last season. That was just his area. That was his wheelhouse there, was skills. And I believe he was one of the ones that came close as well in the World Finals to ultimately get a championship. But the judges were just off that night, I guess. I don't know. But a 26.07 for El Toro Loco. So we're going to go with his first time. He's currently third fastest qualifier tonight here in Toronto. As Avenger comes out, Nick Morhees returning behind the wheel of the high-flying Avenger. It's great to see him come back. Was about halfway in the bracket last season. He had his moments. He was actually fastest qualifier in Atlanta. That's the one that sticks out the most. He was fastest qualifier. I feel like he would have been the one to win it all that night. But unfortunately, in the semifinal round versus Zombie, he had a little bit of, I guess, an overturn. I don't know what it was, as he finishes his first attempt, 26.30. But I guess he overturned it. I'm not sure. It was just an awkward jump. And he ended up rolling over, and that was it. He just got a DNF for the night, didn't finish the race, and Zombie took the win, and he went to the final round, got eliminated by April Summers. And you know how that goes. She absolutely dominated racing after that. But I'm sure he'd love to come back. He's definitely a good racer. He just had that one little bit of a slip up that kind of, might have shook him a little bit. But I'm sure he's back and ready to fight and get some racing titles under his belt. Finishing that second attempt now, a 26.23 for Avenger. So he is now on the board as Gravedigger comes out and rocking that beautiful overcast paint scheme that was used in the World Finals. Now, we do have a new driver this season. This one's another one in his rookie season. KJ is now behind the wheel of Gravedigger. Last season, if you remember, it was Tom Holland Spider-Man who was behind the wheel, and trouble. He's able to keep it on all fours. He's going to finish his first attempt, hopefully. Not going to be the best time, but he's at least going to get on the board. He had a bit of an awkward landing there, but luckily he's going to be able to finish his first attempt. Here comes his first time. Like I said, it's not going to be pretty at 27.98, but he's on the board just in case his second attempt doesn't go too well as he comes up for that second attempt there. But Gravedigger last season, at least with Tom Holland Spider-Man behind the wheel, was a great freestyler. He was tied for first along with Bakugan and Northern Nightmare. Tied for first with highest average freestyle score, and it was a 37. So he could kill it in freestyle racing. He struggled a little bit, but this time around, new season, new driver, new truck. Hopefully things turn around for him, and we can see Gravedigger winning a few events here and there. But second attempt is now in the books, a 26.12. A nice little moonwalk there in the end for Gravedigger. So moving on to the next driver here in qualifying, Ethan Waters and Max D coming back yet again for Season 2. A good friend of mine, longtime friend ever since I started the channel. Thank you so much, Ethan, for always being there. And congratulations on that freestyle championship in the World Finals. He is your reigning freestyle World Finals champion. And he is returning in the same truck with the same paint scheme, the blackout paint scheme, which is amazing. It's one of my favorites to ride alongside the overcast Gravedigger and the yellow Toro Loco. But a 26.30 for his first time as he goes in for his second attempt. Now, that freestyle in the World Finals in Vegas, that has to be one of my favorite freestyles throughout the whole season. And there were some amazing freestyles in Season 1, but that one, he earned that win. He earned that championship, and I'm sure he's ready to, what's the word? He's the reigning champion, but what's the, I guess, darn, it escapes me right now, but basically keep his title and go and double down, or not double down, but go back-to-back this season. But here comes the end of his second attempt, a 25.89 for Max D. I believe that puts him in fourth fastest for the night. So pretty good time for Ethan Waters and Max D. As Blue Thunder comes out, another rookie driver in his rookie season. Nitro Studios is behind the wheel of Blue Thunder this time around. Oh, dangerously close to a disqualification, but the officials haven't called it yet, so he should be good. He might have just barely skated by. But MT World's Media was a driver behind the wheel of Blue Thunder last season, and he was doing incredibly well. A two-time racing winner, would have been three-time, but it was between him and April Summers in the last stop. 26.32 for Blue Thunder, but it was between him and April Summers. They were tied 2-2 coming to the last stop of the season, and April Summers just came out on top and ended up with a three-win season there, at least in terms of racing. But Blue Thunder ended in third last season with in terms of points, and was second in freestyle. So, I mean, he came close. He was a point shy of tying Max D and Ethan Waters, so his run was pretty good. But this time for sure he's going to get a disqualification as he's rolling over and back on all fours, but he's not going to get a time here. He is disqualified for that second attempt. So we're going to go with the first time as April Summers. And Monster Mutt Dalmatian comes out. She would love to come out and win Season 2 and get a championship, a World Finals championship this time around, because she was second in points for Season 1, and she killed it in racing, was one of the fastest qualifiers. Freestyle wasn't really her area, from what I recall, but racing was where it was at, and Northern Nightmare was the one that knocked her out in the semifinals in the World Finals, which I guess, you know, he ended up being the racing winner, 25.02 for his first attempt. That's actually the fastest time, now that I realize it. So she is now our fastest qualifier, and she's one of two women in Season 2 of the Stadium Series, the other one being Cecily 96 and Alien Invasion, and then we have one in Morales TCS and Whiplash in the Arena Series. But coming back to this, yeah, Northern Nightmare was the one that knocked her out and won, and she was the fastest qualifier in World Finals. So she was my favorite going in. I'm sure a lot of other people's favorites going in to win the racing championship, but unfortunately Northern Nightmare knocked her out, and you know, the rest is history. But a 26.40 for her second attempt, so we're gonna go with the first time, and she is our fastest qualifier here in Toronto. So it all comes down to Northern Nightmare and Alex Stevens, 27, your reigning World Finals racing champion. Try saying that 3 times fast. But Alex Stevens, 27 again, your Season 1 winner of the Stadium Series and your racing champion, coming back for more in Season 2, and he killed it in Season 1. I don't think he ever got out of first place at all throughout the season, from what I recall. I think he stayed there pretty heavily, but a 25.60 for Northern Nightmare. Not sure where that puts him. Possibly third fastest, maybe fourth. I don't know. I'd have to look at the bracket. But he's going for his second attempt here. The time to beat is a 25.05 from April Summers and Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Dare I say, his rival. I'm sure they have some kind of rivalry going on, given that they were first and second in points last season, and Northern Nightmare is who ended April Summers' night in World Finals. So I'm sure there's some kind of rivalry going on there. But here comes the end of his second attempt, a 26.22. We're going to go with the first one as his fastest one, but that means April Summers and Monster Mutt Dalmatian is your fastest qualifier here in Toronto. So let's go ahead and take a look at the times there. As you can see, a 25.02 for Dalmatian, 25.5 for Monster Mutt. Dragonoid has a 25.55, and Northern Nightmare with a 25.6. So those 4 are your top 4 fastest qualifiers. This is the racing bracket going into racing later on in this event. They're going to get the bye runs into round 2, and this is your leaderboards as of now. So pretty interesting. But now a word from our sponsors. I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of the channel, W Energy. Be better with W Energy. No jitter, no crash, no sugar, no artificial colors, and 0 calories. Stay focused, stay awake. W Energy. Use code PROJECTRODROD to receive 10% off of your order. Now, back to the video. And with that out of the way, it is time for High Jump, the new event for Season 2. Another opportunity to get points, and an easy way to get points, but also an easy way to get behind, depending on how you look at it. So Alien Invasion and Cecily 96, your first one out with a 44.2. So a pretty good outing, pretty good height, but 11 more trucks to go. So we're going to see what happens as Monster Mutt comes out, your second fastest qualifier. Let's see what he can put on the board. 44.2 was the one to beat, and a 41.6, so good enough for second place at the moment as Zombie comes out. Can't wait to see his arms go up in this jump. There they go. Looks like he's doing the wave. Zombie with a 43.4 for his attempt. So, pretty good. Good enough for second. No, wait. Second or first? I believe second. Mohawk Warrior coming out now. They're flying out here at this point with 44 feet even. Pretty good attempt. Next up is Brian the Dog Webb in Bakugan Dragonoid. Let's see what he can do. Some pretty sick air. And a 44.7, so we have a new leader in Bakugan Dragonoid and Brian the Dog Webb. Excuse me. El Toro Loco coming out with his rear fender coming off a little bit, blowing smoke at the peak of his jump. 43.6, not enough to knock out Bakugan Dragonoid. Next up now is the High Flying Avenger. Let's see if he can own up to his name. Pretty good jump. Don't think it's going to be enough. A 43.9, not enough to knock out Bakugan. We got 5 more trucks to go, excuse me. Gravedigger and KJ coming out. Huge jump, awkward jump kind of shook a little bit there in the air. Not sure what happened. 43.2 feet for Gravedigger. Max D and Ethan Waters coming out now. Beautiful black paint scheme. Oh, hard landing. 42.8 and another hard hit there. They're going to have to check that truck before we go into racing, just to be safe. Blue Thunder now coming out. Nitro Studios now with his tailgate flying off. I think they're hitting that container a little too hard when they back up. Another hard hit on the front end. 41.5 feet for Blue Thunder. 2 more trucks to go. Here is your fastest qualifier, April Summers in Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And it's going to be another hard hit. 43.7, excuse me. Dyslexia kicked in for a second. Last truck coming out. Alex Stevens, 27 in Northern Nightmare. Is it going to be enough? And a 42.6, not going to be enough as another hard hit. Man, they're going to have to check these trucks out before racing. But Brian the Dog Webb and Bakugan Dragonoid is your high jump winner here in Toronto. So this is the leaderboards after, or for the high jump. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboards after the high jump, the point leaderboards. As you can see, Bakugan taking an early lead, Dalmatian in second, Alien Invasion in third, so on and so forth. Racing and Skills is next. Can't wait to see you guys there. Thanks for watching.